This next video is a quick one. It is a video on proper bolt maintenance, and it is from a live stream that I just did this month over on my Patreon channel. Patreon is a great place to come over, get direct access to me. I do live streams every month that you can participate in or send questions ahead for. You get ad-free videos, you can suggest videos that you'd like, and I even do giveaways a lot of the months. So the link is in the description below if you'd like to consider joining. And in the meantime, here's a little bit on bolt maintenance. So here's your bolt. And I'm assuming, Pete, you're asking, like, compared to when I clean a gun, like what's the frequency of taking the bolt apart sort of thing? Like half the time,
Yeah.
the percentage, right? Every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
Okay.
here's what I do every time. So every time I'm going to take my bolt, and I'll just start with a fresh paper towel here. So I'm just going to show you my process for how I clean my bolt. I'd say this is pretty close to what Eric and others do. First thing I do, mainly just so I don't get it all over me, is I'm going to just clean it off, and then I tend to push my paper towel down onto the lugs and scrub. So when I'm doing this, I'm basically cleaning the lugs off. So I'm trying to get all the grease off of the lugs here. I'm then going to just take it and rub the bolt face, and then I'm going to rub the caulking piece, and I'm just going to get it off so that it's, so I'm not getting crap all over me. I go ahead and pull this out. I put this aside. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to wipe off the tip of my firing pin. I'm going to wipe off the spring. And I don't, with a paper towel, I'm not going to go like this on the spring because that tends to shred the paper towel and I don't want stuff in here. So I go like this, I turn it, I move it, I turn it, and then I turn it up against the face of the caulking piece here. So I'm going to, now I can turn it because I'm not going to be on the spring, but I'm basically trying to get any residue, grease, everything off. I'm going to make sure I get the threads right here. And again, I'm just going through and just cleaning it off, okay? So now, typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of grease, and this is, so Jim recommends a white lithium moly blend. He makes his own, but I will tell you, and I've talked to him and he said this is great. So I went to my local auto store, and this is STP moly EP. It's literally white lithium and moly is basically all it is. And it's messy as hell. Okay. But I've had this tub for 2 years now. And you can see, and it's like $6. I mean, it's stupidly cheap. And then all I did is went to my local farm store, and I have a handful of syringes. You buy these, are like 20 cents a piece, just as they wear out, because the rubber O-ring in them wears out. And all I do is just load it up, and I use them like this. And so, whoops. And so now I have this piece. And what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of grease on the threads here. Okay. So I've got a little bit of grease on the bolt threads. And then I take just a little bit of, so I use the Iosa oil, right? So like hands down, I think this is the best oil you can use. And I'm going to put a little bit of that on some patches, and I just wipe it on the spring a little bit. So I'm not soaking the spring or spraying it on the spring, but I just put a little bit on the spring there. And that's all I'm going to do on this. Okay. So now I put that aside for a second. And on my bolt body, I have a tool like this. Whatever you have works great. And then I've got an oversized brush. So this is like a 338 brush. Patches, of course. Let me open up the packet of patches.
John, I don't have your video at all. Does anybody else? Have it.
Can you guys not see me?
I do not.
Can anybody see me?
It's going in and see, and then it goes out and goes back on.
Yeah, same here.
I've been good the whole time. I've seen you the whole time, but I just logged in like 3 minutes ago. So
Huh.
Yeah,
I think it's picking up the other person's video whenever they're speaking, and it's blacked out.
That's
right.
correct.
That's- Somebody
Yeah,
coughed.
it should be pinned on me, so I don't know why that's happening. Okay.
It's working for me.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple patches and I wrap them around this brush. And what I do is I want to leave when I wrap this around, I want to leave, like you can see where the tip of the brush is here. When I wrap this around, I want to leave some of this here, and that's because we're going to put it inside the bolt body, and I want some extra padding so I can really clean against the back of the bolt face. Does that make sense? So I'm going to stick this in, and right now I'm scrubbing the back side of the bolt face, and then I'm just going to slowly pull it out. Okay. And that's just from shooting it one time. So I do this every time. So Pete, I'm sorry, let me back up and tell you, I do this every time if I didn't say that. So every time the gun gets cleaned, my bolt gets cleaned, period. So you can see that's just from me shooting 25 rounds the other night. So I just cleaned the bolt body out. So now that's clean. I've already wiped all this down. I'm going to go ahead and screw this in. Okay. And now there's a couple of things I need to do to the bolt now. The first is I'm going to put a I'm going to mute that. Okay. So I've got my IOSO oil. I'm just going to put a little bit of IOSO oil on here. I'm going to wipe it all over, and then I'm going to take a rag and wipe it. It's going to leave a film, and this is something that I used to do really poorly. I used to leave too much oil on here, and it just ends up collecting dirt and dust and stuff. In fact, I did that in front of Eric one time, and he smacked me in the head and said, "What are you thinking?" And so the way the IOSO is designed, it leaves a film, and that's all you need. So I do the oil first, just because I'm going to be wiping it down with a paper towel. And if I do the grease first, I don't want to be smearing the grease when I wipe down the oil. So now I'm going to take my grease, I'm going to put it on the lug faces, right? So on the front of both lugs. Okay, so you can see that. The other thing we want to do, I know this is hard. So the other thing we're going to do is we're going to put it on the face where the handle is. There's this face right here. We're going to put a little bit there. Okay. So we've got some right there. And then the other thing we want to do is put it on the cocking ramp. Okay, so that's going to be there. So inside here, and we're going to put some. Okay, so you can see there, you can see there, and you can see there. And now I don't have my gun out right now, but if I was putting it in my gun, I would hold the trigger and I'm going to push forward as hard as I can and then close it. That way I'm not wiping off the grease as the lugs are swiping sideways. And then I can, just manipulate the bolt a couple times and everything. So every single time now I'm in the middle of that, I'm also going to use, this is the Vortec wiper tool. I honestly think it's the best thing you can buy. You can buy it by itself. You don't have to buy the rod with it, but I bought this, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, and it's probably been the best tool for cleaning I've ever had because it's designed, they do a 3-lug also, if you have like a BAT 3LL or something, but this is a 2-lug design, and you're going to put your patches over it. But because of the way this is designed, it's going to get into that lug area inside of your action and clean everything out. And that's going to, get all the grease out. It's going to, and then as you pull it back, it's going to clean the races that are inside of your action. And you can just get everything nice and clean, then put in your bolt that you've just greased up and whatnot, and then you're back in business. And like that took a little bit of time because I was explaining it to you, but in practice, it's less than 5 minutes when you're cleaning your gun. So a lot of times I'll do it let's say I've got a situation like, especially at a match where I've shot maybe like 80, 85 rounds or something. So I've got a little bit more carbon ring buildup or something like that. I might go ahead and take a patch with a little bit of Ioso oil on it, stick it in my carbon ring, and then I'll clean my bolt and then go back. That way it's had 5 minutes to soak or whatever. Does that help, Pete?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.